Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's podcast, I welcome back two very special guests. They are now sophomores on the Holy Cross women's hockey team, and they were also part of one of the most listened to episodes in College Hockey Talk history. A lot of guys requested that we have them back on, and today I'm happy to welcome them back on the podcast. Mackenzie King and Emma Min, welcome back to College Hockey Talk. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having us back on. Really excited.
Yeah, really excited. This is awesome.
Does it feel weird that you are one of the most listened to episodes in the podcast history?
Yeah,
Honestly,
when you
yeah.
posted that, we couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
to be
that's
honest.
crazy.
That's pretty awesome, which I appreciate, obviously, but I just thought that was interesting. You have more views than some current NHLers, which is pretty unbelievable to think about.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, that's pretty
It's wild.
crazy.
Our fan base is bigger than we thought.
Yeah. So I just want to let you guys know that. So, but obviously, you guys had a pretty good year for your program's history. You guys improved from 3 wins your freshman year to 7 wins this year. And honestly, it felt like you guys were more competitive in even some of the games that you lost. Just talk a little about this past season and what you took away from it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we made huge improvements this season. I think the biggest thing too is we really were able to get some more overtime wins, which was a huge improvement from last year. And then obviously getting in some new talent was key as well. And yeah, just it was really cool to have our best record yet so far in Hockey East.
Yeah, like she said, it was like a really cool experience, especially stepping it up from last year. Maddie Beck starting most games. She really stepped up. She was a huge part of our success. And then yeah, I think just like our whole core this year was just really close, and we took that to the ice.
Mm-hmm.
Look, last year it took you guys until November to get your first win in the season. This season, you guys did it in your very first game, beating Union 4-3. How important was that win for you guys to start the season off on the right note, but also seeing so many underclassmen contribute in that game with Alexia Moreau scoring 2 goals and then obviously Madison Beck getting her first win that season?
Yeah, I think it was huge in just like setting the tone for the whole season. Yeah, like you mentioned, the freshmen came in ready to go, and then also our returners from last year. I think after last season, everyone just really committed to making individual improvements. So when we came back in the fall, we were just ready to go, ready to start winning games. And I think that first game against Union was just a testament to that. And just started the season off like on a good note, I guess. Yeah.
I totally agree. I think a lot of us came back this coming season looking at last season and saying like it's time to like bring it. I think we started like having something to prove at the beginning of the year. And there are a lot of like games that we played last year, just like the Union game that like we played them last year. We know how to play against them, and I think we just took it to a lot of teams at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Also, it seemed like you guys brought the physicality this season. I think you saw that in the first game against Union. Like Kenzie, you had a huge hit after one the puck got freezed up. I don't know if you remembered that.
Yeah,
Is
no,
that something that your team like sort of try to, I guess, focus on this year, is just being a little more physical and a hard team to play against?
yeah, I definitely feel like we focused on that a lot. I just think because like hockey is such a fast league, we're definitely a fast team, but I also think that we learned a lot about like not being pushed around, and like really like we're practicing more physical, we're playing more physical, and it helps a lot in games for sure.
Yeah, I think something about our team is we're kind of like you mentioned, like we're like the underdogs, we're kind of grinders. Right from that first game, we started playing with the chip on our shoulder. And we just kind of like we're able to show teams this year that like we're gonna be tough contenders and super physical to play against.
Yeah, I like that, Kenzie, not getting pushed around because like she was trying to, and then like you shoved her
Yeah.
out. It was pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
No one's touching Maddie Beck on my watch, that's for sure.
Well, you guys got a lot of big upsets this year too, which is something else I thought was something you saw this year compared to last season. The first one came against Vermont in the beginning of the year. Talk about that upset early in the year and showing hockey's teams that you guys can compete with them and also win against some of those top teams, especially a team like Vermont who really like blew you out in some of those games your freshman year, and to finally get back the following year and beat them, I thought must have been really, I guess, such a confidence boost for your team.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely feel like a lot of teams looked at us from last season and didn't think we were like able to compete. And I think like this year, like Vermont had a great season, and I think that they came in and we took advantage of like being the underdog. And I think that happens in a lot of our games, but our team was like really explosive out of the beginning of the year. And I think we took advantage of that. And we just grinded that entire game. I remember it like it was like yesterday. We were just like, we were really determined that game and we showed it to them.
Yeah, and I just think like coming off of last season, they sort of walked into the game kind of cocky, like underestimating us a little bit. So I think that kind of worked out in our favor because we really just like took it to them and showed them that we've made big improvements since last season, and just getting that win against a team like Vermont was huge.
Yeah, I thought that really showed me honestly how much you guys improved since last year. Because if I remember correctly, Vermont only had like 12 players when they beat you guys, and a coach last year because they had
Yeah.
so much COVID problems. So to finally
Mhm.
sort of get past that hump and beat a team like that, it must have felt really good.
Yeah, for sure.
Now you guys got to go to some cool places this year. You went to Lake Placid. Talk about those games and what that experience was like for you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, traveling to Lake Placid was like so cool with all the history there. Being able to play there was a really cool experience. And then obviously just playing some out of conference games was really fun. We had a really tight game against SLU, and then we took Syracuse to overtime. So yeah, I think it was just a really cool experience getting to see Lake Placid and learn about all the history there, and then just play some out of conference games. It was always fun.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like the history there, like being American, it was just a huge experience with all the USA hockey history there. Um, those games were like super competitive. It was super cool to be in every one of those games. There's a bunch of girls that we knew on the teams. It was a really fun experience walking around the town. Like hockey was great, good hockey, good places to go. It was just a great experience. Yeah.
Did you get to go to the room where Herb Brooks made that speech?
I don't think so. No, but there was like I saw Herb Brooks's face like at least 5 times.
Yeah.
He was everywhere. Don't
Yeah.
worry, we saw him a lot.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies of all time is Miracle. Like it honestly might be my favorite movie.
Yeah.
Just because of all the lines and like I think my favorite one was when the guy like hurt his leg in the locker
Yeah,
room.
no, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
we were just
talking
last
about
week,
that one.
actually.
He got a bum knee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, Minner watched Miracle on Ice for the first time last year.
Yeah.
So
like,
I had to culture her a little bit.
yeah, that was before going to Lake Placid, I hadn't seen it.
Oh
So
wow.
Her initiation.
yeah, Kenzie made me watch it, and it's like one of my favorite movies.
It's like
now.
her favorite movie now ever.
Well, it's
Yeah,
also like
I-
Canada's
oh,
not
wow.
mentioned in it, so like it must feel nice. It's not like USA upsetting Canada. It's the
Yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but no, that's a great movie, and just the Jim Craig part is another good part where he's like
Yes.
where doesn't want him to play, and then he's like, I want to see the guy that didn't take the test, and like
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
if that doesn't fire you up.
So
So
funny.
just a great movie overall, and I heard Lake Placid is so hard to get to, but like once you're there, it's really nice.
It was
Yeah.
for sure a really windy road. That's all I remember. I think a couple girls were getting a little car sick.
Yeah.
I feel like we were going around some mountain ranges at some point. I don't know how that happened,
Yeah.
but
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely worth it once we got there.
yeah.
Though.
Yeah, that's why I'm happy I watch Hockey East because the ECAC they do that all the time, and like I don't know
Yeah.
how they do it.
I know.
Yeah.
Now, talk about playing at Fenway Park as well. You guys got to do that this year. And you also won that game too. And I felt like a lot of people, if you want to talk about underestimating, a lot of people in the media thought BU was going to pretty much destroy you guys in that game. You guys won it, beat them at Frozen Fenway. What was just that experience playing at such an iconic ballpark, and playing outside as well?
Yeah. No, I mean, playing at Frozen Fenway is definitely like a once in a lifetime experience. We're all just super excited to be there, and then for us to beat BU just kind of made it all the better. Our head coach Katie LaChapelle was actually away at Worlds, so Meredith Roth and then our other assistant coach Devin Taylor, they definitely stepped up a lot. And I think our team was just like so excited to be there. We really played so determined, played as a unit, and just we kind of walked in there like wanting that win, I guess, more than BU, and we ended up winning the game. So that was an incredible feeling. And I just remember that day our team kept saying to each other, like don't blink, because the whole day just felt so surreal and we didn't want to like blink and miss a moment of it. I just remember being on the ice, and then like it started snowing, and it was just, it was an incredible feeling.
Yeah. No, Emma said pretty much all of it. It was a beautiful park. It was a beautiful experience. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. That must be some good IG photos too with the snow and the ballpark in the background. Like that's like I don't know, you have to post those at some point.
Yeah, I was gonna say creds to like all the people that were taking pictures because we got some really cool pictures for sure. Especially with like the snow coming down in the
Yeah.
background, the Fenway in the back. It was really nice.
That must have been cool when it started snowing too, like because that's like sort of like the outdoor ODR vibe is when it starts snowing. So like
Yeah.
when I'm assuming you're focused on the game when that started to happen, that must be like, damn, this is really cool.
Yeah, no, honestly, it was like a mix of like I remember thinking like, wow, it's like so cool that we're playing outside. It's snowing right now. But then also like the ice got super snowy. So I was just trying to focus on like not losing the puck in the snow, like making hard passes. But yeah, no, it was so cool. It just like you said, it brought me back to like that ODR feeling, like growing up playing hockey on the pond with my friends, and we were all just having so much fun. And yeah, like I said, once in a lifetime experience for sure.
Are you guys baseball fans? Like I don't know if like that had something to do with it as well.
Um, being from
No, not
being from
really.
Ontario, I'm a Jays fan, but I have gone to a few Red Sox games. But yeah, we don't watch a ton of baseball, I feel
No,
like.
no. I feel like I'm not, but that made me one, I guess.
Yeah.
Are you a Pirates or Phillies fan if you had to pick?
Pirates.
That's
Really?
tough. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's
Uh, but no, that was a lot. I went to the Saturday one, the day after you, and the weather was actually probably better for a hockey because like it wasn't snowing and like it was just the right cold and there wasn't any sun. But I still think that snow vibe is kind of cool to play in, even though it makes the ice not as good.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
definitely.
Now, you guys also beat BU again that next game at Hart Center. How important was it to sort of like beat them again, not proving that it wasn't just like a fluke?
Yeah, no, it was definitely huge. I think a lot of people thought it was a fluke. I think a lot of people were just like, all right, it's gonna be a one-time thing. And I think we went into that game like wanting to prove that it wasn't a fluke and that we do those things like on purpose and it's not an accident and we work hard for our success. So I think we definitely came in saying like this is gonna be our first sweep of the year, and then it was. So
Yeah, no, that was definitely huge. I think that really, um, like you said, just proved to everyone that it wasn't just a fluke game. And we were able to, yeah, use our talent to get that sweep.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, Emma, you guys won a lot of overtime games this past year. My favorite one was probably the main one, when it was a very tough, hard-fought battle, but Alexia scored the OT winner. Take me through that goal and how important was that win for your team? Because I feel like it showed that you guys were building consistency towards the end of the season.
yeah, no, I think that really all tied it all together. I think our overtime core that like really learned how to make that work. Mary Edmonds got a chance on the overtime, so did Lane Lewis, so did Alexia, and I mean we just like grinded in overtime and we always seemed to pull through at the end of the year, and it was a huge success from last year. Is I feel like we were thinking like, oh, why can't we like finish these games? Why can't we like play the entire three periods and more in overtime? And so once we were able to start doing that, like Alexia pulled a pretty sick celly at the end of the game. Got her
Hmm.
on some cool platforms, but yeah, that game was definitely awesome, and she did a great job for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, for sure. It was really nice to see this season being able to make that improvement. And we practiced a ton of 3-on-3 during practice, so it was nice to see that translate into the game. Because yeah, I mean there's no better feeling than an OT win for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you guys like the 3-on-3 format? Because I heard some coaches say they don't like it because they think it's too pond hockey like and it decides so much in regards to the pairwise. But I feel like I like it a lot because I think it's
No,
more
I like it a
entertaining
lot.
and it's
Yeah.
like more goals. It's a goals more likely to be scored. I always hate when it's like super tight and compact and there's just so many
Yeah.
icings. I think the 3-on-3 opens it up a little bit. But what are your thoughts on it?
I think I like 3-on-3 better. I think like it lets players stand out, and we can put like some of our most skilled players on the ice, and like there's just so much more hockey to be played. There's so much more ice open and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like there's just a lot of room to skate with the puck, um, and set up some plays. So yeah, I'm a fan of 3-on-3. The one thing I will say is I'm not a fan of shootouts.
mm-mm.
So I'm
Yeah.
glad that hockey do that.
I don't mind a shootout. I don't think you should do shootouts in playoffs, but I think
No, yeah.
during the regular season, like I'm sorry, you can't have these games go like over 3 hours. Like you gotta end it at some
Yeah,
point.
that's
So that's
true.
my opinion on it.
That's true.
Yeah, I remember we went to the Merrimack Lowell game at the Garden. They were going through overtime after overtime after overtime, and we were like we got school tomorrow. Like, I can't really be there that long. We're like, wow, this is taking forever. I like really wish there was a shootout,
Yeah.
but we
Yeah,
stayed through.
I was
Like,
at that game, but I was during spring break, so I didn't have to worry about school. So
Yeah.
I was a little more luckier than you guys.
Yeah.
yeah.
I did think that Providence BU game. I don't know if you saw that game, but that also went to overtime, and I thought that was a little more entertaining because it was more two fast-paced teams than Merrimack and Lowell are sort of like grinder teams from least from my perspective.
Yeah. It was just we stayed for like 2 overtimes. So it was just it became a lot for sure.
Yeah, I
I have to
understand
go
that.
home. It's like almost midnight. I'm like,
And the
yeah.
trains get shut down too after a certain time
Yeah,
as
and we
well.
were driving from here to Boston, so it was
About
a
an hour
lot.
drive,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, I will say though, like it's awesome driving late at night when there's no one on the highway. It's kind of a
You would think
nice.
there would be no one on the highway.
Oh,
But there
really?
were people on the
It
highway
was
when
pretty
we came
busy
back.
that
It
night
was
for
pretty
some reason.
busy for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like just more people are on the roads now. Like I had class canceled and I was going on the highway at like 10:30, and I'm assuming everyone's got to be at work and it was still so packed. I'm like, I feel like everyone just works from home now. Like no one's
Yeah.
Mhm.
no
No,
one
for
like no
sure.
one no one like has like a normal 9 to 5 job anymore.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So, but no, that was fun seeing Merrimack win that game for sure.
For sure.
Now, getting back to your team, you guys got another upset against UConn in their home rink. Talk about that upset and what it meant for your team because I felt like that was my favorite upset of the year because you guys did it on the road against a top 15 team. And UConn was sort of like a team that was fighting for a lot at that point. You sort of showed that you can sort of compete with the team. It's sort of like it felt like a playoff game to me, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, so I think they were ranked 15th at the time, so that was super cool to be able to beat them. And we were also the first team to be able to play in their new rink. So that was kind of cool to get that win. But yeah, no, like UConn I feel like plays a very different game, which we had to adjust to. They like send it up quick up the wall and then they kind of dump and chase almost. So we had to adjust to their game a little bit, which I thought we did really well and just preparing for that the upcoming week. And it was also really fun to play against our old teammate Carly Major. She's one of our really close friends. So it was really cool to play her. And I mean, yeah, it was a huge win for us for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was awesome to see Carly and she was like flourishing up there. So it was awesome to see her and play against her. Yeah, I mean, they were a great team. When we watched them, like we were watching film, we were like adjusting to how they played, and they were a really skilled team. And I think we took that and we adjusted fast. And I think we put pucks to the net. We were grinding. We were just playing how we know how to play. And that rink was packed because it was like one of their, I think it might have even been their home opener. Yeah, it was like their inaugural game. And it was just there, it was packed. There was a lot of people there.
Yeah, it wasn't. I think it was the second game. I think they played Northeastern the
Oh, was
Friday
it?
night.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
they
was
had
at the
like some
Oh
Northeastern
sort
yeah,
of
game.
yeah.
like
They played Northeastern the night before.
oh, okay, yeah. It was still new and fresh, and there
Yeah,
was still a whole bunch of families there and stuff, and it was like wild.
yeah. I think UConn does UConn have the most fans like in their for their home games, or is it another team? I feel like
No,
you
I
guys actually are like one of the more well attended women's hockey games in Hockey East
yeah, no,
because
I think it has to do a lot with like the structure of the rinks and the structure of the stands. Like I feel like big big places like Conte Forum and like Northeastern's rink, like it's really really hard to fill it up.
yeah,
So that's why like when there's a men's team there, it's like literally filled to the brim with people. But like I think that like we have a really good rink for like school attendance, especially compared to like our school size.
hmm
So when like a couple hundred people come, like our barn's filled, you know what I mean? And same thing with like UConn, like their rink is big, but it's not like ginormous. So like they can fill it with like a decent amount of people and it just looks packed. So the atmosphere is like crazy.
yeah. It's a good rink for women's hockey. For men's hockey, I think it's actually a little bit too small. So they
Yeah.
got to
Yeah, no,
figure
for
that they
sure.
got to figure that out. I feel like
Yeah,
at some
that's
point in the
why,
future.
yeah.
But no, that I do think you guys have. I like how it's sort of small because like when it fills up, it's like super packed and it's like a good barn vibe. I feel bad for
Mhm.
like UNH and Maine because like I feel
Yeah.
like
Oh
every
yeah,
time I watch their
exactly.
games, there's like no one there and it's
Yeah, they
like
look
feels like a
devastated.
library.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
And was there any good chirps to Carly after winning that game? I feel like
I
you
think
guys had to say
someone no,
something.
someone tripped her on accident and he thought it was like on purpose. Oh, it was Soph. Sophia Smithson was like going to get off and she was like dragging her stick behind her. And Carly fell right next to the bench and she's like, you guys are the worst. And she just like kept going. But No, she
honestly,
was
like
completely,
after the
yeah.
game, it was all love.
It
Like
was
it was
all
just we
love.
were super pumped to see her. Like I said, we still like talk to her all the time. We're super close with her, so it was really nice to see her and just I don't know. It was nice to see her do so well
Yeah,
at
Yeah.
UConn.
she's doing great.
Is she now officially a Crusader after this year? Like you got to get her back to you get her
We're
back to be
trying.
We're
We're
trying to
trying.
get her back to the woo, but Mage is just staying in Michigan for now. She's back home.
Yeah.
She's a retired gal now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's grandma.
Yeah, no, that series was a lot of fun, and I feel like UConn is a good defensive team because I feel like the game that I saw, you guys got so many offsides in that game because they did a good job with their neutral zone play, and I feel like that
Yeah.
was a good adjustment they made from that game you beat them to the following weekend series.
Yeah, no, for sure. We noticed that as well.
Now, unfortunately, your season came to an end in the playoffs against UNH. What did you take away from from that playoff game, and how are you going to use it for next season to hopefully have more success in the postseason?
I think it was crazy to come in and be, I think, 8th in the league at that point. I think it was awesome to play UNH, but we were hoping to not play at UNH. For some reason, I just like hate playing there. I don't know why. I think it's just one of those rings that is just way too big again, and we play so confident and so well at the heart. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think postseason is a whole different game, and I think we came in really prepared. It's just, I think, especially for next season, we are looking to go much farther in the postseason. We're looking to play a couple games, playoffs, maybe like win 2 or 3 games, maybe get up there in the standings. But yeah, definitely not the outcome we were looking for. But I think you went into it like fully with the right attitude. We played our hearts out.
Yeah.
Played for the seniors like the entire game, and
I think we did everything we could like in preparation, but
yeah.
You win some and you lose some.
Yeah.
Fortunately, that game didn't go our way.
Yeah. Why did UNH have so much success against you guys? Because I went to a few of their games and they always seem to like do well against you guys. So
I couldn't tell you. We were actually talking about that before we came on. It's just like one of those teams that it just doesn't always like go our way. And for some reason there's so many so many bounces. And we look at them, we're an equal team to them. I think every season. I think we were equal to them last year, equal to them this year. And they're one of those teams where it's like we could totally beat them every single game that we play them. But yeah, for some reason I feel like bounces against UNH just don't go our way.
I will say that
they started
UNH is they do really well at capitalizing on other teams' mistakes.
Yeah.
So like I don't know, it'll be like a super competitive game, going both ways all game, and then like will like make small errors and they're able to capitalize on them, which is really impressive for them. But yeah, we're definitely hoping to have some better luck against them next season.
Well, I hope you guys do. And I think they have one of the best goalies in Hockey East, which she doesn't get enough credit. I think her name's Nikki Harnett. She makes some really good saves and keeps them in a lot of games. So there's no shame losing. I think they're sort of a team that sort of gets overlooked a lot.
Yeah,
definitely.
Now, to talk about your goals and expectations for next season, I think one thing that I heard from your team is you guys want to have more consistency throughout the regular season. What someone was telling me is you guys had a good start to the year and finished off the season relatively well. It was that sort of that middle block where you guys lost a lot of games in a row, and it was sort of like trying to be more consistent from the beginning to the end of the season. I was just wondering if you guys sort of agreed with that, and that's one of your team's goals for next year.
Yeah, no, I mean, you kind of described that perfectly. Like we came back in the fall, super like ready to go, and we had a great start to the season. And then we kind of got into a little bit of a slump during the middle of the season. Then we were able to pick it back up in the new year. But yeah, I mean, I think we had a really successful season this year, having our best record, getting more overtime wins, which is something that we definitely want to carry on to next season. So we just kind of want to build off that, like go home this summer, make some individual improvements so that hopefully we can come back in the fall ready to go. And like you said, I think consistency is a big thing that we definitely want to build on next year. Just, coming into every game ready to go, playing with a chip on our shoulder, and just like being more consistent throughout the entire season. I mean, it's a really long season. But yeah, we definitely just want to be more consistent and hopefully have an even better record next year.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's I really do hope that we come in next season just exactly how we did this season. I think that was like some of our best hockey was when we came in the beginning of the year. right out of like fall training. I think we were like really prepared. I think the middle of the season is definitely really hard because that's when your body starts to wear down. It's when stuff really starts to get hard. School's hard, life's hard. There were some injuries. Lane broke her ankle. People were hurt. There were concussions. Like that's just when like kind of like stuff hits the fan. But I think I think with this group, like consistency won't be as big of an issue next year. I just think like we're gonna be able to handle it, and I don't know. I just think that the middle of the year is always tough, but I think we've got some great leaders next year, and I think we'll be able to pull it off.
Yeah. What do you guys hope to improve individually for next season? I'll start with you, Kenzie.
I think definitely like we're not like that short, but I think as like a smaller player, I think I just want to be like the fastest that I possibly can. I think like I'm not gonna really be able to use my size to my advantage, kind of like some other girls, but like if I can be fast, if I can move the puck fast, I can get up the ice fast. I think that's gonna be the best advantage to me. So especially on like the offensive side, like speed's definitely gonna be one of my big goals this summer for sure.
Yeah, I would say for myself, I'd really like to like improve on contributing more offensively next year. I think we had a really strong D core this year. And we're able to kind of like shut it down in the D zone when we needed to. But yeah, personally, I'd like to just work on creating some more offense. Um, and yeah.
Now, one question I want to ask you guys was you were one of the most improved teams in women's college hockey this past season. However, I felt like no one seemed to really talk about it except for me at College Hockey Talk. So I want to give myself a little shout out for that.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
what do you think was like the biggest improvement you guys made X's and O's wise on the ice that led to some of the success that was translated with the wins that you guys had? And do you like being that sort of underdog role in hockey? Because I feel like you guys sort of relish in that just from an outside perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's super fun being the underdog. A lot of times teams come in underestimating us, and we were really able to take it to a lot of teams this year. Um, so I personally like being in that position. Um, in terms of making improvements for next year, I think a huge focus this year was just like being disciplined in practice in our off ice training. So I think that's something that we definitely want to keep improving on next year. Um, just like working on all the little things that ultimately like, translate into the game. Like I said, we practiced a lot of 3-on-3 this year, which worked out well for us. So just kind of continuing to do that stuff, working on possessing the puck, and just I guess like working as a unit.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we worked really well as a unit this year. I think one of our biggest improvements was definitely our power play. I think we got a lot of opportunities on the power play this year, and our power play was actually really successful most times. And I definitely agree with Emma on this one. I think like the underdog role is like really easy to be taken advantage of, and I think we took advantage of it a lot. I think that's where a lot of our success came from, actually. I think that we just like we always say, like I think we always played with a chip on our shoulder. I think a lot of the times, like when we went into the locker room, we were like, I'm not really sure that this team totally respects us here. And I think that we have to prove them wrong. And I think that was a key to like being an underdog team, is like knowing what you have to do.
Yeah, I love that a lot, especially because I was talking to Devin Phillips from the men's team, and they had a sort of similar season as you guys, sort of improving a lot from their previous year to this season. And he was saying, like, no one's going to talk about Holy Cross hockey. No one's going to give us our dues. So we got to show that we deserve to be talked about. And that's sort of what translates for their success in the ice. And it's good to see that you guys sort of have that same mentality as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
No, he said it perfectly. We're definitely on the
Philly
same
said it
page.
perfect for sure.
Now, I always like asking these questions, and if I don't get any answers, I don't care, but I need to know. Do you know any of the new players that are coming to the team next year? And can you share any of the non-conference games that you have scheduled?
So what I know is I think we got 2 Americans and 2 Canadians.
Yeah, we have 4
We
incoming
have 4
forwards.
incoming forwards and no defensemen as of now. But I think Emma knows one of them personally. I personally don't. I have a couple of mutual friends from Philadelphia Flyers, and they're coming in from there. So I think I know them sort of mutually, but she knows the Canadians pretty well.
Yeah, I think there's a couple from Ontario coming in next year. But yeah, all we know right now is we have 4 incoming forwards. And then in terms of games next year? We have no
We
idea.
have no idea. I don't think we know.
They haven't told us our schedule yet.
They haven't told us
so
our schedule. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the murmurs here, but
I feel like we always get our schedule super late, to be honest. Like we're kind of like we find out when like everyone else does.
no,
Yeah.
yeah. We
I
find
know
out
one of the men's
late.
non-conference games, so I was just curious if you guys know any of yours.
No,
Yeah,
as
I
of right
mean-
now, we haven't heard any, but I hope we
I
have
would
some
love to
fun.
play Penn State again. That'd
Yeah.
be awesome.
Yeah,
I
I want them
feel
to come to the Heart though, because you guys
Yeah,
went there
I
last year,
feel-
and I want to see that team in person. I never had the chance to do it.
Yeah. And one team that I'd really like to play next year is Syracuse, just because our two
Oh yeah.
teammates, Darcy Johal and Kaylee Langfelds, are going there. So I think that'd be super fun to play them and get to see them again.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But yeah, no, we
The
haven't heard
CHA
anything.
teams would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe some ECAC teams as well, like Union.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that'll be a lot of fun. Well, I can't wait to see it when that comes out. And like I said, though, I know I guess I'll tell you this. Holy Cross men's hockey is playing UConn next year, so that should be a lot of
Oh,
fun.
that's
really?
great. Yeah.
Yep, at the Heart Center, one of the
You'll
games.
definitely
So
be at that game.
Yeah.
yeah,
We'll
so
see you there.
yep. Unfortunately, I'm a huge Holy Cross women's hockey fan, but I'm a huge UConn men's hockey
That's
fan.
right.
So not be cheering for Holy Cross in that game. So I apologize in
Yeah.
advance for that.
That's all
But I
right.
hope you guys can understand because at least I'm a fan of your team.
Of
Yeah.
course, yeah. You're definitely a big supporter of
Yeah.
the
Holy
women's
Cross
team.
women's hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I know it's sort of weird rooting for a different women's team and men's team, but that's that I feel like it works out for me.
I think it's all right.
I mean, yeah, it's a favor for us. So
Yeah.
no complaints.
Awesome. Well, I do have to pause the meeting now.